Greetings and salutations,
Bitcoiners. This just in from our over-the-counter desk. I'm getting this from Kraken. This is the information Kraken's seeing. I would imagine it's similar across the board. Little differences here and there. This is the over-the-counter market. For those of you new that don't know, the big players, the institutions, the whales, they predominantly buy over-the-counter. That does not affect the retail market. That does not affect the price of Bitcoin. So you may hear constantly being drilled into your mind, these whales are hodling and these whales are buying, and that's wonderful, right? We want Bitcoin to come to a supply crisis. That's when the price of Bitcoin goes up into the stratosphere. But we're a long ways away from that. So when you hear these stories, most of the time, these big players are buying over the counter, and that does not affect the price of Bitcoin whatsoever. The reason why big players like to buy over the counter is because, especially in cryptocurrency, they don't necessarily trust the exchanges, right? And one of these stories I'm going to get to here in a minute is over on, was it Binance, I think it was, where $2 million was stolen from somebody. This is yesterday, that Friday, end of the week, out of Asia. The day was far from lively, aside from a few whales taking Bitcoin and DOT profits and rotating into ETH. The week finished with Bitcoin buyers outpacing sellers by a 65-35 split. Though gross trading volume was virtually unchanged week over week and is still far from levels observed in May. If you want to get a feel for what the whales are thinking and doing and how they're behaving, this is a good place to look. Out of Europe, over the counter, flow was particularly rich in Cardano and DOT on Friday, but the activity was uninspiring as a whole. Market participants remain largely sidelined as the summer starts to enter its final innings. Out of the Americas, yet again, the broader markets move higher on Friday, failed to attract any meaningful buying or selling. The desk did come across a handful of Bitcoin and ETH buyers in the first half of the session, but flow dried up into session end and was net uneventful. Cardano has been pumping. Cardano, I think, is pumping up to the news of they're finally going to have a real product. No offense. They're finally going to be able to offer smart contracts. It's nice to invest in something that has a product, and they finally are about to have one. Watch out for Cardano dumping. There could be a little bit of a buy the rumor, sell the news events. Talking about Dogecoin might be looking at a little pumpy pump coming in here. So here's another case. $612 million was stolen off the Poly network, although it turned out to be a white hat hacker. It still just proves a point, right? That's probably someone wanting to prove a point. If you want to know why whales buy over the counter, why they're active over the counter and not necessarily on exchanges and stuff, that's because this stuff is still going on, right? If you had, I said it before, if you had millions of dollars, you don't want to really just throw it out there to a place that's not exactly totally secure. And these stories are popping up all over the place. $612 million stolen. Here's the one I was talking about on Binance. This is a bad story for Binance, for crypto in general. This is the stuff that's going to be coming down out of the pipes. The more popular and powerful cryptocurrency gets, these stories are going to start flowing in. People will be attacked in this industry through the courts, through the governments, through regulation, through the Securities and Exchange Commission, through the financial regulators and all that stuff. And I mean, unfortunately, it needs to be done. I just hope it's not too painful for the real products. Right here, London's High Court has ordered crypto exchange Binance to trace and identify hackers who stole 2.6 million in crypto from Fetch.ai's account. It's the latest headache for the world's biggest exchange, which has been besieged by regulators across Europe and Asia in recent months. this could escalate the legal pressure on exchanges to track crypto. And that relates back to the story that's been going through the United States lawmaking process. The bill that made it through the Senate that is going to make, they're trying to make cryptocurrency report their taxes in a way where it's not even possible for them to do it. This feeds into that. This is another case where it could escalate the legal pressure on exchanges to track crypto. And that's the whole point of crypto, is it's anonymous and free. But the more problems there are with people that can't behave themselves, they're ruining it for everybody. And it's gonna have to, it's like a bunch of school children can't get along. Just one person can ruin it for everyone. And you got to go to the principal, and now the principal needs to make rules, and now everybody does this and everybody does that, just simply because a couple people can't behave. Unfortunately, one bad apple in the bucket spoils the whole bucket eventually. Okay, so for those of you that are up to date on that bill that went through the House recently, it's going to the Senate. Now it's going to the House of Representatives, then to the president to sign. Members of Congress lobby Nancy Pelosi and others to amend the crypto tax definition. So it's such a terrible thing. It's like trying to force crypto to do something that's not possible. So it sounds like, and I've heard some other places, it sounds like they're actually going to change the wording, and that's not an issue. But you don't know that. If that's true, why didn't they already do it in the Senate? What? Now it's at the last step at the House, give or take. They probably won't follow through with it. They probably will change. They probably will amend the wording. They're trying to make miners and stakers. They're trying to make them into brokers. They're changing the words, making them into brokers, and they need to report their customers' tax information. But it's impossible to do that in crypto. So, or most crypto, but so it's kind of like whack-a-mole. Like one story might go away, but then it just pops back up here again. It's the same type of story, right? This is in the court, right? London's High Court. This is a court ruling. It's ordered Binance to trace and identify the hackers, right? So they have to track crypto. It's the exact same thing that the U.S. Senate just voted on last week or earlier this week and passed. Even though that's probably going to be changed and that probably will go away, this backlash, it can go through the courts, right? So there's definitely a problem blowing in the wind out there. Even if people in the government come to the aid of cryptocurrency, there's still going to be legal problems, and there's still got to be regulation coming in, simply because of the scams and the fraud, right? It's inevitable, just because people can't not do stuff wrong. I was talking about that bill that got passed through the Senate while Bitcoin's pumping, if you've been watching my videos, and now people are saying, well, that bill's going to go away and they'll change the words and it's not going to be a problem. But look at this. Just came out yesterday. Proposed U.S. congressional bill targets private use of Bitcoin. So this congressman here has introduced the Digital Asset Market Structure and Investor Protection Act, legislation that aims to promote innovation and U.S. jobs by providing legal and regulatory certainty for digital assets, provide fundamental investor protections to U.S. retail investors and other consumers, improve trade reporting and transparency. So that's going to be a problem. Improve trade reporting and transparency. Strengthen the Bank Secrecy Act requirements related to the treatment of digital assets and protect U.S. investors. And so this is good that there's a problem, right? Fraud and scams and hackers and people stealing. Crypto's infested with fraud. And it might actually be worse than traditional finance. You might hear different, but it's too bad. I think that a lot of the good parts of crypto might be ruined because of the scammers, right? People just don't know to do right from wrong. It's unfortunate, but this is the problem, right? That kind of stuff is going to lead to this kind of stuff through the legal courts, through the governments around the world. They're going to have to start standing up and trying to protect people. But I want to show you, if I read through this, it all sounds, really good. Oh, well, yeah, this is going to be great for everyone. Yeah. Until you get down here, specifically the bill would, and you read down through this, and it's like, okay, well, this and that, it doesn't sound too bad. It might be good. Yeah. Maybe we need this. But then you get down here. This bill would provide the Fed with explicit authority to issue a digital version of the US dollar. This is the worst nightmare for crypto, a centralized authority, digital US dollar. That should frighten everyone listening. That opens up the door to someone tapping a button on a computer and cutting you and your family totally out of the world economy if they choose to. That's frightening. Clarify that digital assets, digital asset securities, and fiat-based stablecoins are not U.S. legal tender. And provide the U.S. Treasury Secretary, I do believe that's Janet Yellen, I'm sure you've heard her name, with the authority to permit or prohibit U.S. dollar and other fiat-based stable coins. So this bill starts out like, oh, we need to protect these people that are getting scammed, and we need to protect everybody from the fraud. And then it gets down here, and it's total control by the Fed and the United States Treasury over cryptocurrency. Basically, is what is wrapped up in these. It's just one sentence with commas. They're not even a period. It's a semicolon at the end. So it gets kind of ugly down here. You read down here, legislative recommendations from FinCEN, SEC, CFTC to provide clarity on dividing lines between who must register as a money service business versus who must register as a securities or commodities exchange. So this is not good. This is actually really bad. This is coming down the pipeline, folks, and it's just a bummer, man, because the problem is, looking at the big picture, there's so many problems with people just that can't simply do right instead of wrong, right? That could end up, that could end up really hurting crypto. It can end up killing crypto. Basically, traditional finance through here would basically take over all authority of the cryptocurrency industry, under the guise of protecting people. And how did it start out? This legislation aims to promote innovation and U.S. jobs. That's not promoting innovation and U.S. jobs, right? Not when the Fed and the U.S. Treasury tells people exactly what they can and can't do. That's not innovation. So there's definitely a problem coming. And what other wonderful stuff is out there? I don't want to be the guy giving out bad news, but that's kind of the problem. It seems like a lot of YouTubers might just kind of ignore this stuff and just talking about it. Somehow I'm the enemy for telling you about it, right? And forbid I say Bitcoin price is going to go down, because then all of a sudden I'm your enemy on YouTube, right? And you can leave snotty little comments and about how dare you say it's going down. It didn't, and then when it doesn't go down, if it goes up, then you come and you say, you were wrong, huh? You're a failure. So that's basically the problem, right? It's like I don't think Bitcoin was invented to be treated like a junior high school dance, right? Oh, did you hear so and so ask so and so to the dance? Oh, did you hear this and that and this and that? Did you hear that and this and this? It just seems so childish. And I think that in a nutshell wraps it up, right? It's like Bitcoin is just this wonderful gem of an invention, but it's like the people that have surrounded around it, it's like they can't behave themselves. So it's going to stifle it, right? It's going to shut it down, unfortunately. See, even on YouTube, like these people that are promoting high leverage trading on YouTube and stuff, that's hurting Bitcoin terribly. You may not know it. It might be ruining Bitcoin all by itself, right? There's not people making money off Bitcoin. There's people taking money from new investors, right? So it's a bummer because I had some videos lined up. I was going to talk about some coins that I was talking about investing in and stuff. And even now, stable coins over on BlockFi are under attack with regulation. So it's just not good, man. It's just not good. But I'll keep you up to date with these little news stories. Let me know if you like these news stories. And as always, thanks for watching.